We've got joining us now in the Element Well Studios, the Public Service Commissioner for Mississippi's Central District, Brent Bailey. Brent, good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me here. As always, y'all got the tunes going and multitasking, and you guys got it going on here in the studios.
There's a bunch going on, as you can imagine right now. So, no, we're having fun with it. Well, we appreciate you coming in. Wanted to get an update from your office. Any particular bills that you're tracking?
Well, there's a lot of things we have going on in the office. We're certainly keeping watch of some of the issues that are going on at the legislature, how that can impact consumers, certain utilities, their customers, and, of course, even the PSC itself, our operations, our statutory responsibilities, and what that means in the long run, what that means for rate impacts.
Yeah.
So, there's always some things that we have on mind. We certainly want to help ensure that energy efficiency issues are front and center for consumers and the programs that are offered them through technical and financial support to be as efficient and as conservative as we can with our energy resources out there. They're precious. They're critical to the future of this state, and we want to extend those and do that in a way that helps consumers manage their bills and keep more money in their pocket. So we're always watching those. We certainly, there's another one dealing with transmission expansion here in the state. And there's different versions in the House and Senate, and certainly watching what that means to our regulatory responsibilities and where that falls, and what that means for any type of private or financial support from investors, those that want to help provide transmission services in the state. We want to make sure that can hopefully be a competitive market to bring the best, most affordable, cost-effective transmission resources in the state, but also, make sure that we're not stifling competition while at the same time helping bring forth and support this expansion of a critical infrastructure, and at times could be a need as we want to address any type of congestion or serve various load pockets to help facilitate any type of independent power producer distributed generation going forward. And I think as we have opportunities to expand the generation portfolio in the state, we got to make sure that we can effectively and efficiently help provide the transmission that's needed in those areas to support that economic development, that economic investment, particularly in rural areas.
What does present law say, Commissioner, about allowing just a private entity to construct some sort of transmission infrastructure, electric?
That can happen now, and there's actually filings in front of the commission to that is in pursuit of that, and we do have certain responsibilities regarding reliability, state siting, the impact on systems, and analyzing that, and evaluating the overall effectiveness and the benefits that creates for that system, for the state, as well as the transmission of affordable energy out of the state to those markets as needed, and also affordable energy into the state at times that is needed here. That there's questions about if this legislation goes through, how that impacts us, and what does it mean exactly as sort of kind of a rate review of that, or rate regulation of an infrastructure system that does not generate kilowatt hours but transmits that. Certainly have some questions there over what that looks like from the PSC perspective.
I think more specifically, would they be subject to the regulatory authority and control of the Public Service Commission?
They already are to a certain extent through our Certificate of Need process, but our Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity is basically what that is, our CPCN process, but not regulated per a rate component.
Okay.
Because they're a private transmission-owned system is not, quote-unquote, a public utility as defined by law, where then we have that certain responsibilities.
But if an entity wanted to install transmission lines, I mean, the poles, the cables,
they could
infrastructure, but do they have to get permission from your organization to do so?
They do. Anything that interconnects into the overall grid structure, distribution, transmission system, yes, they do require that type.
All right, so I think there's also a proposal, maybe a measure, if I'm not mistaken, that would deal more specifically with electric vehicle charging stations and powering those.
Yeah, that's something that we feel there needed to be some type of legislative solution to that due to the uncertainty of who has that power to offer for retail sale of electricity beyond what's currently described today as a public utility having that exclusive jurisdiction and through the certificated areas they serve, their service territory, they're the only ones allowed by law to currently sell energy at a retail rate. So in the state of Mississippi, currently, if you plan to charge an electric vehicle somewhere, you buy blocks of time. Now, how much power you get in that block of time is certainly it's not universal because the type of charger, the level of system you're connected to, how the vehicle receives that, and other factors that they go in there based on whether it's a 2-plug, 4-plug, and how that power is distributed out amongst the plugs, whether one vehicle's there or 4 vehicles there. So at least if you can get it on a per kilowatt basis and allow non-public utilities also to sell that, however, within certain guidelines and standards and oversight to ensure the consumer is getting what they pay for.
I got you. All right, what about an update on the broadband build-out?
So the broadband is, as a lot of folks you may aware, there's now an agency in the state that's certainly dedicated to that, the Office of Beam.
Yep.
But
Sally Doty runs
that's
that.
Right. Stay connected with them, but that doesn't mean that we're not continue to be very high-pitched advocates in supporting that and helping inform where we can and educate the opportunities out there and hopefully direct resources or support the efforts of directing resources where those areas of served and unserved homeowners are, and identifying what are these emerging technologies that potentially be in these areas. We understand that broadband, fiber to the home is really that desired technology. It's going to take time. We continue to remind people that to get this infrastructure out there across the countryside to that that person at the end of the road, and it's going to take time and investment. And that office, the Office of Beam, is, I think, doing a good job of identifying those resources out there, leveraging those resources, those monies at the local level, and helping move this process forward. So we can continue to promote the opportunities out there, identify those spots. There's now a mapping review going on that the Office of Beam is trying to help promote to identify where those weak spots are, where the mapping is not correct.
Right.
So we're trying to help promote that as well to get folks engaged, and more people who participate in that, the better data we have on those address by address areas of what is actually available to consumers.
All right, the no-call stuff.
Yeah.
Still hearing more about that.
No call, and that is going to always be a challenge with the evolution of technology out there. These scammers, these fraud callers, that's their business model. It's what they do, and always pursuing them is a challenge. They try to stay one step ahead. We do our best with the resources we have internally, our dedicated staff of those that regulate and manage and facilitate the Mississippi Telemarketer Solicitation Act, the anti-spoofing law. We do with the tools and resources we have. We are absolutely doing everything we can to support those efforts and be responsive to customers who provide those numbers, to robocalls, to 10-digit texts and other ways that they're being communicated and not desiring to receive those communications. We're trying the best we can to identify where those calls or texts are originating from, get that information, and we provide that to the Attorney General's office, their Consumer Protection Division, and then they have that next ability to go forth and enforce and pursue, whether it's arrest powers, some type of other adjudication process or whatever. So, our office, we do the investigation, and we take the results of that pursuit and we hand it to the law enforcement side. We don't have arrest powers, or we don't have badges or guns and that kind of stuff. So it's really a dual agency effort to undertake that.
They're constantly working.
We're always working, but we're going to keep at it. And as long as we have that responsibility, we're going to do the absolute best we can for the consumers out there.
Gotcha. Appreciate it. Public Service Commissioner of the Central District, Brent Bailey, has been our guest. I'm sure we'll talk some more before the end of the session.
I'm sure. Thank you so much for having me here.
in.
Yes, sir.
Coming right back here on Middays. Please stay with us.